But I think laying the foundation for this is what we have to do to compete at a championship level. Yeah. Like this is why home court matters. This is why you can't have off day. This is why we can't be 11th in the league in defense, right? Like we got to get to at least middle of the pack. All of those different things. And so as a competitor, it's exciting.
Did you hear what Stephanie White just said about Caitlin Clark? It's not what anyone expected. The Indiana Fever's new head coach dropped a bombshell in her latest interview, and it's got everyone talking.
And it's exciting to coach generational talents, and that outweighs the other stuff that we might have to deal with.
White didn't just praise Clark. She revealed something that could change the entire landscape of the WNBA. Are you ready to hear the truth about the league's newest superstar and the coach who's known her since she was in middle school? Stick around because Coach White wasn't the only coach in that interview. There's another rival coach that just revealed an amazing story about Clark that you wouldn't believe. Are you ready? Let's go.
Do I think it's going to be a seamless transition? No. I mean, it's going to take some time. And just like any young team, I mean, you don't get back-to-back #1 picks by being really talented early, right? Just like any young team, it's going to take some time. And it's we got to put some pieces together and we've got to continue to build. So managing expectations is going to be important.
Picture this, a packed gym. The air thick with anticipation. Among the crowd sits Stephanie White, her eyes locked on a young player who's dribbling circles around her opponents. But this isn't just any player. It's an 8th grade Caitlin Clark. Can you believe it?
I started watching Caitlin Clark when she was in the 8th grade when I was at Vanderbilt.
How about that?
And then I called a lot of her games in college when she was at Iowa. And so I've really watched her continue to learn and grow, and I have great relationships with her college coaches and had multiple conversations with them throughout the course of her career about what the next steps would be, right? And what the next level would be.
For over a decade, White has been watching Clark's every move. She's had a front row seat to Clark's incredible journey, from middle school prodigy to college superstar. But here's where it gets interesting. White wasn't just a passive observer. She was analyzing, studying, and yes, even dreaming about coaching this phenomenal talent one day.
Caitlin isn't just great for women's basketball. She is great for the entire game. She's more than just points.
She absolutely is. I mean, let's not forget, this is a young woman who led the nation in assists as well. She's accomplished records that haven't ever been accomplished in the sport of collegiate basketball.
Now, fast forward to today. White's not just praising Clark. She's revealing how this long-term observation has shaped her understanding of Clark's game. It's like she's been preparing for this moment her entire career. Are you ready for this? White drops a bombshell in her interview, sharing insights that only someone who's watched Clark's entire journey could have.
I'm looking forward to, when you think about Caitlin Clark and a generational talent, and the sometimes overlooked Kelsey Mitchell, who has been like one of the hardest workers that I've ever seen from the time I was covering her at Big Ten Network, watching her at Ohio State. And then Aaliyah Boston, who, prior to Caitlin Clark coming on the scene, was another generational talent and is, right? Like, so it's like you think about the pieces that we have and putting that all together.
White's words paint a picture of Clark as more than just a basketball player. She's a cultural phenomenon, a generational talent that comes once in a lifetime. The way White talks about Clark, it's clear she sees something special, something that goes beyond just stats and scoreboards. And here's the kicker. White's excitement about coaching Clark and the Fever is palpable. She can barely contain herself when she says, "What an outstanding moment we have in women's basketball right now. I am thankful and grateful for it." It's like White knows she's about to be part of something big, something that could change the game forever.
I hope, #1, for Caitlin, that I can be a resource. I didn't have the same stuff that she has on a global scale. Thankfully we didn't have social media at the time, which amplifies everything. But I've been through it on a smaller scale. And so hopefully I can help her navigate, some of the extra stuff, while pushing her to be her best and challenging her to step outside of her comfort zone on the floor.
But let's not forget, this isn't just about Clark. White's insights give us a glimpse into the future of the Fever. She's not just excited about coaching Clark, she's thrilled about the team they're building. You can almost feel the anticipation in her voice when she talks about the upcoming season.
I have the advantage of I was an opponent, right? And so scouting her and this is what we try to do to make you uncomfortable. This is how we game planned for you. And again, being that straight shooter, like okay, like these are the areas that we need to improve. You know, and putting those pieces together while also thinking about the holistic version of this team that we have, who is incredibly gifted on the offensive end of the floor.
Yeah.
You know, offense is what I love. And so being able, trying to think about all these things that we can do. And
White's decade-long connection to Clark isn't just a cool fact. It's a game changer. It means she understands Clark's strengths, her weaknesses, and her potential in a way that no other coach could. She's seen Clark grow, adapt, and overcome challenges. She's witnessed firsthand the work ethic and determination that's made Clark the player she is today.
heck, we had a staff meeting a couple of weeks ago in Indy, and it was like, guys, we got to scale it back. We're not going to be able to do all of this in year one. We're not going to be able to do all of this in training camp. Like, we're going to be able to. So staying ahead of the curve and watching all of these, you know, NBA games and EuroLeague games and thinking about the things that we can do is really exciting to me.
Let's rewind the clock a bit. Remember when Caitlin Clark was lighting up college basketball? Stephanie White was there, microphone in hand, but she wasn't just another analyst gushing over a star player. No, White saw something in Clark that others missed. She didn't just focus on the flashy plays and jaw-dropping stats. White was analyzing Clark's court vision, her basketball IQ, her ability to make her teammates better. In one of her broadcasts, White dropped a bombshell about Clark's game. She said, "I think she reads the game better than other stars." That's huge, folks. White wasn't just praising Clark's scoring ability. She was highlighting the intangibles that make a good player great.
Caitlin Clark is just at the epitome of the intersection of social media, of pop culture, and fan engagement in a way that we've never seen, and she's moving the needle forward for all athletes.
Fast forward to Clark entering the WNBA. The hype was real, but so was the pressure. And who was there, standing firm in Clark's corner? You guessed it, Stephanie White. When Clark lost her first 2 WNBA games, the critics came out in full force, but White? She wasn't having any of it. She stood up and defended Clark, reminding everyone that even the greatest players need time to adjust.
You know, looking at all these things that people are talking about with Caitlin Clark, it's like, guys, chill out. Like, she's gonna be fine. Like, it's 2 games in, are you kidding me? She's a student of the game, she got better every year. You're not going to just absorb all of the new information that's coming at you in 2 games, in 2 weeks. It takes time, and she will. I have no doubt about it. She's a student of the game. She continues to get better, and these are also points that coaches then address. Hey, let's continue to work on this.
Now picture this. White, coaching against Clark in the playoffs. You'd think she'd be focused on stopping her, right? Wrong. Even then, White couldn't help but express excitement about the Fever's future with Clark. It's like she knew something we didn't.
Yeah, it's exciting. You know, certainly I was born and raised in Indiana, and so have a lot of pride in Indiana basketball, and a lot of pride in the Fever organization, being a player and a coach there. And it's exciting what's happening with the organization and where they are. I mean, most organizations have their ups and downs, certainly. But I'm proud of the growth of the Indiana Fever. Excited, you know, about the future of the Indiana Fever.
And then, the moment we've all been waiting for. White gets the Fever coaching job. And who's the first person she calls? Caitlin Clark. Can you imagine that conversation? White couldn't contain her excitement. She said, "I spoke with Caitlin last night, and I think just overall excitement. That's not just a coach talking to a player. That's 2 people who know they're about to do something special."
What's your approach when you're coaching greatness like that?
Yeah, you know, I think first and foremost, just talking basketball, right? Just having general basketball conversations about what she's watching, what she likes, you know, what are some of the things that what are some of her thoughts from, you know, not just what the Indiana Fever have done, but from the game of basketball in general.
But here's where it gets really interesting. White's coaching philosophy is all about maximizing player potential. She's not just looking to win games, she's looking to build something lasting. When talking about coaching Clark in the Fever, White said, "This is the moment we've been waiting for." That's not just excitement. That's a coach who knows she has all the pieces to create something extraordinary. Picture this. It's a pivotal moment in the game between Iowa and Purdue. The tension is thick, and everyone's on the edge of their seats. Purdue's coaching staff thinks they've got the perfect plan to stop the unstoppable Caitlin Clark, but they're about to learn a hard lesson about expecting the unexpected.
I mean, let me tell you, so this is crazy. So it's the end of, I don't know, maybe a quarter or half, I'm not sure which, but we were going to take a foul on her, right? And so Caitlin Clark brings it over, and she brings it over close to where Katie Gerald's is, and we were going to tell Jayla Smith to foul. And so Katie said, "I'll tell you when." And so you can see Caitlin like hear that.
Yeah.
Purdue coach Kelly Kamara had it all figured out. They were going to foul Clark before she could get a shot off. Simple, right? Well, not when you're dealing with a player like Caitlin Clark.
Now, Jayla Smith goes to foul. She throws it up.
Yep.
Turns around. It goes in.
Yep.
It freaking goes in,
Yep.
and she didn't even see it. And then she starts going, and one. I'm like, oh my God.
Here's where things get wild. Clark, with her incredible court awareness, somehow overhears the coach's plan. As Purdue's Jayla Smith moves into foul, Clark does something that leaves everyone speechless. She throws up a shot, turns around without even looking, and swish.
Whatever you're scheming, whatever you're thinking you're going to try, like, I mean, we all just did our best, right?
Yeah,
We just did the best we could, and at the end of the day, it was what it was. But, you know, somebody like that, you know, everybody has to kind of cross their fingers and kind of throw spaghetti at the wall and see what sticks with her. And
Now, here's the kicker. The shot didn't even count because the foul was called before Clark released the ball. But that's not the point. In that split second, Clark had shown everyone in the arena why she's in a league of her own. Kamara, recounting this story later, couldn't help but laugh at the sheer impossibility of it all. It's a funny way of saying what we all know. Trying to contain Caitlin Clark is like trying to catch lightning in a bottle.
But it was pretty cool to experience Mackey Arena and Caitlin Clark at the same time. I mean, it was pretty fun.
This moment, this impossible shot, it's more than just a highlight reel play. It's a perfect example of what makes Clark so special. Her ability to read the game, to anticipate what's coming, and to turn even the most hopeless situations into magic. That's what sets her apart. Think about it. How many players can say they've made a shot without looking at the basket while being fouled after overhearing the other team's plan? It's the kind of thing you'd expect to see in a movie, not in a real college basketball game.
We had a lot more defensive weapons at our disposal. So, you know, and it's I don't know how any college team really can prepare for a Caitlin Clark, because you can't do it with one person. You know, you can't do it one-on-one, right? Like it is a whole 5-man team effort. So let me just preface all that before you go.
But that's Caitlin Clark for you. She doesn't just play the game, she rewrites the rules of what's possible on a basketball court. It's this kind of extraordinary talent and instinct that has coaches like Stephanie White so excited about the future. Let's zoom out for a second and look at the bigger picture. The Indiana Fever isn't just making a few changes, they're orchestrating a complete transformation. And at the center of it all, you guessed it, Caitlin Clark. Picture this. The Fever's front office, once struggling, is now shaping up to be a powerhouse. They've brought back Kelly Krauskopf as team president. Remember her? She's the mastermind behind the Fever's 2012 championship team. But that's not all. They've also snagged Amber Cox as their new GM and COO. Cox is known for her sharp eye for talent and deep understanding of the league.
It's our job then as coaches to continue to put them in positions to succeed, and our job as a franchise to put the pieces around them that will fill some of the gaps and fill some of the holes. And ultimately our goal is to win championships and to hang banners.
Now, here's where it gets really interesting. The Fever didn't just hire any coach. They brought back Stephanie White. It's like they're assembling a basketball dream team with Clark as the centerpiece. White's not just talking about winning a few games here and there. No, she's got her sights set on something much bigger. Championships. Multiple championships. Are you ready for this? White sees Clark as more than just a star player. She sees her as the foundation of a dynasty. But here's the kicker. It's not just about Clark. White's talking about a three-headed monster with Aaliyah Boston and Kelsey Mitchell. Can you imagine trying to defend against that trio? It's enough to give any opposing coach nightmares.
Not bringing in, my system and my style, and this is the way that we're going to do it, but really adapting and blending some of what we wanted to do or thought we could do with what they had already done that's been very successful.
But White's vision doesn't stop at offense. she's made it clear that defense is just as crucial. She wants the Fever to be a force to be reckoned with on both ends of the court. It's not just about outscoring opponents, it's about shutting them down too.
First and foremost, it's a mindset. You've got to be committed to it. And so establishing that this is going to be a part of our DNA and a part of who we are right away and is going to be important.
Let's talk about Aaliyah Boston for a second. This young star has been making waves since day one. She was the #1 overall pick in the 2023 WNBA draft and has already been named an All-Star twice. Now, imagine her growing alongside Clark. It's a combination that could redefine what we expect from a WNBA team. And don't forget about Kelsey Mitchell. White can't stop raving about her, saying she just had the best year of her career. With Clark running the point, Mitchell's game could reach even greater heights. And not to mention key veterans such as Lexi Hull and Grace Berger in the mix.
We want our players to use their instincts and to play free. We want to make plays, not run plays, right? We want to have sets that give us certain spacing that we want, depending upon our rotations, who's on the floor, who we want to attack, what matchups we want to get to. How can we manipulate them? So we'll have certain play calls that just give us space to operate. And then whichever play we make, whichever pass we make determines, one of 3 actions that our players can read from. And so really giving them the freedom to play within a system.
The Fever's plan is crystal clear. They're not just building a team for next season. They're laying the groundwork for a legacy that could dominate the WNBA for years to come. It's a bold strategy, but with the talent they're assembling, it just might work. White summed it up perfectly when she said, "This franchise has and always will be committed to winning, and I look forward to working every day to help deliver another WNBA title to the greatest basketball fans in the world." It's not just talk. The Fever are putting all the pieces in place to make it happen.
First and foremost, it's a mindset. You've got to be committed to it. And so establishing that this is going to be a part of our DNA and a part of who we are right away and is going to be important.
Stephanie White and Caitlin Clark's partnership isn't just about a coach and player teaming up. It's a glimpse into the future of women's basketball that's got everyone buzzing. The Fever are building something special, and it's not just hype. With White's experience and Clark's talent, Indiana is poised to shake up the WNBA. Analysts are already predicting big things. They're saying the Fever could be championship contenders sooner than you think. It's not just about one season. We're talking about a potential dynasty in the making. So, basketball fans, are you ready for what's coming? Indiana is cooking up something incredible, and it's going to change the game. White and Clark aren't just aiming for success. They're rewriting the playbook for women's basketball. The WNBA better watch out, because the Fever are coming in hot. Are you excited? Let us know in the comments. Like, subscribe, and turn on all notifications so you never miss out. Click the video on the screen, and we will see you in the next one.